this camp, we're going to be using Sanity.io to create an awesome headless CMS. We'll be kind of creating the backend system of a shop, with clothes and categories, prices, descriptions, images, all that really cool, fun stuff. It won't be a full, Sandy thing, but they have awesome documentation, and we'll kind of go into the intro and basics, and then we'll just kind of see how that actually looks in the end. So yeah, Sandy is a awesome content platform. They power all these awesome websites in some capacity, and we use it at STEMpump to power a lot of our data as well. We'll be creating an interface just like this, whereas other platforms kind of have an interface and editor already made for you. We kind of have to build it ourselves using all their awesome tools. A CMS stands for Content Management System, and it allows us to manage different types of content and build as it says, data-driven content solutions. And they have all these awesome things, and they have real-time collaboration. You can add your team and sort things. You can do different hotspots, like tons of cool version control, power a lot of different things. And it being headless, the term headless kind of means that you can apply to anything. So it doesn't mean that you only have to make a website with it. You can use a headless CMS with an app and a website. Or maybe you're a billboard at an airport for interactivity and you need to pull data there. It's really just a universal CMS that you can really apply anywhere. We'll also be learning about GROQ, which is their querying system, which is really cool. If you know GraphQL, I'm going to find GROQ here. If you know GraphQL, you'll kind of get a hang of it. It's a lot different. I actually prefer this to GraphQL, which is why I love Sandy, because it can be a lot more specific and pull what data we need from our CMS, because we'll be showing two ways you can either output an API or use GROQ to kind of pull your data. Later this month, there is a APIs in Next.js course, which is also pretty helpful if you want to learn that. But this will be pretty independent, and we'll be kind of talking about Sandy and all that. So you can kind of get things started by making an account. I'll actually create an account with GitHub. I'll authorize it. It's going to send me back, except they have a really awesome free plan, and that's what we'll do. Once you're on this page, we're going to create new project. Okay, and now that we're on here, we're going to see that we have a few little things here. So it says we can either start with the command line, or we can choose a starter project. We're going to start from the command line. And that will give us our entry into all this. So here's my little terminal. I'm going to write npm install-g at sandy.cli, and it'll give us our command line tools to work with the terminal. I'm going to start it off with sudo, because sometimes npm doesn't like to cooperate and sudo just makes everything work. Try it without sudo. If it doesn't work, then you can use sudo on Mac, and npm should work perfectly fine on Windows. We'll do this. Okay, let's type it in. Cool. I'm going to go into my documents folder, and I'll be creating a new project. So I'll write sanity.init, and it's going to say, hey, you're making a new project. Log in with your account. So we're going to use our arrow keys to go to GitHub, and it's going to authenticate. Cool. And now we have this new authentication. We're going to create a new name. So I'm going to call it SP Camps Sandy Shop. Hit enter. And now it's going to create everything. So we're going to set it up with the default. So you can do capital Y. And so right now it's going to be creating our data set. Yes. You can use a template. We're going to do a clean project. And it's just going to get all that set up. Okay, just going to finish that up. And are we almost done? There we go. I'm going to say end for now. Cool. Okay, so now we can close out of the terminal. If we go back here, we can now reload the page, and you actually see that now we have spcamps.sandy.shop, and it has all of our information here. So we have 500,000 API CDN requests, 100,000 normal API requests. We have 5 gigabytes of storage, 10 gigs of bandwidth, and just a few other things. You can add a few members. You can see your data sets. You can have another one. We won't really need that. You can have different things. You can see your usage, whatever. Sandy's really cool about at least allowing you to see it. Now I'll open up VS Code. We have another course on React that kind of walks through all of this. So you can kind of have a general idea of how any of this works, but you'll have VS Code or another IDE, hit open folder, and we'll kind of find this, and we'll hit open, which is the name of our project. I trust all the authors. Cool. Now I'm just going to make that full screen. Cool. So now I have this. And so I have all my stuff on the side. So I'm gonna hit control and then the tilde key, and I was gonna pop over my inline terminal, or you can hit terminal, new terminal. And we're gonna write sanity start. And now it's just gonna compile a lot of different things, do all this stuff. Cool, and we can go back, and now if I go to local host 3333, you're not gonna see this, and it's gonna ask you to log in. We're gonna use GitHub. And this is the authentication, and here we go. So this is what our out-of-the-box system looks like. We have desk and vision. Vision allows us to kind of test out different GROQ queries and see what our results are. And then our desk allows us to kind of, allows us to have all of our schemas and types and our objects and documents and all of that fun stuff. But let's take a look at the code and see what we're working with here. All right, so we have our config folder, which we won't mess with, node modules, we won't mess with, plugins, we're not going to really use, static we won't mess with either. The really big one is our schemas folder. This is the one that really matters to us as of right now. And this is kind of where we're going to put all of our documents and objects. So it's pretty important that we understand what each of these are, and we'll be creating them in order to figure that out. So let's make a folder inside here, and we'll call it objects, and we'll create another one called documents. You'll see that right here we have a schema file, and you'll see that we named our schema default, and we'll be basically importing our schemas into this file. And this is what's going to tell Sandy, hey, show this thing or don't show it. Say we have an old schema that we want to keep just to make sure we have the code still, but we don't want to have it editable, then we have to include it here. Let's create our first document, and we're going to be creating a piece of clothing. Maybe we'll sell a t-shirt. Let's start off with that. Okay, so inside our documents, let's create a new file, and we're going to call it t-shirt. I'll just call it shirt, I guess, shirt.js. And this is what we're starting off with. We want to first kind of give some detail about this. So what we're going to do about this shirt, so we're going to kind of define terms of our document. We're going to write export default, add our, you can see GitHub Copilot kind of figuring it out. We're going to write title, shirt, comma, name, shirt, comma, and then type document. So title essentially in Sanity is basically what we're going to be seeing on our desk side, on our Sanity Studio side. The name is how we're going to call it using GROQ, or what it's kind of identified as, and we usually do uppercase here, lowercase here, or camel case for this. And now we're going to kind of define some of our fields, or all of our values. So we'll make an array of our fields. And first, let's kick it off with the name of our shirt. Let's call it the name of our shirt. So we're going to call it shirt name. So that's our title. That's what we're going to see. We're going to add description. This is optional. You don't really need it. Everything else, we'll call it the name of the shirt. Title you'll need. We're going to set up a name for it. So we're going to call it name. So you don't really have to put the shirt name. This is just made for so your non-coder folk can kind of go to edit it, or you just makes it easier. And then we're going to set a type. And our type will be a string. Okay, and I'll kind of explain what that means in a little bit. And I'll also add this validation. And it'll be rule required. So this is what we end out with. This is what our code looks like. We can go back, reload the page, just Command R or Control R, and nothing changed. And that's because we haven't updated our schema.js. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write import shirt, and you can see it autofills here. And then I'm just going to write the word shirt. And you'll see at the bottom, contents new successfully compiled. And now we have shirt. So we can create a shirt. Let's create one. And you can see shirt name, the name of the shirt, and this is what it kind of looks like. We can review our changes over time. We can check different versions. I'll create a shirt, and I'm just going to call it a graphic tee. This is a shirt I like to wear. And you can hit publish, and now it's been saved. This has been saved to our CMS. We can create another one. Maybe we want to make a tie-dye t-shirt, so I'll call it a tie-dye shirt. Hit publish. Cool. Now I have 2 shirts in this shirt content field. You can see that it kind of figures out this. So let's kind of break down what we did here. So we made a new JavaScript file. We wrote export default. We give it a title, so shirt. It's kind of the name of our document. But if I change this to shirt 2, Sanity won't complain. Everything stays the same, no errors here. Because this is on the visual side that you see. But if I change this to shirt 2, we're going to see some issues start to pop up. Because now we have no more shirts. Why? Because the shirts we created were made under the name shirt. So if I save this again, we'll find out that it picked back up. See? There's our shirts. And then we called it a document, which means it has an ID, which is unique. Every document is a unique field, which means it's a unique item. So, you know, a shirt or a cap or a pair of pants or shoes, these are all unique items of their own. We'll talk about what objects are and why they're so helpful in just a little bit. We have fields, which is an array. You can see because of the square bracket, and this is an item of that array. Title and description are both visual. We can change these with no problem. Nothing in our code changes. But if I change this to name 2 and hit save, you'll see on first glance it'll start erroring out because it has this phrase called tie-dye shirt, but it doesn't know what it is because we saved it to the name of name. So we can hit save, and it'll reload, and it's good to go. Pretty solid, right? Right. So let's continue with types, and I'll kind of go here so it's easier for you guys to kind of see how we're kind of going about this. This is a content lake, build with Sandy. I'm trying to figure out where it is. Content modeling. Where is it? Oh yeah, there is content types. Content types. So you got a few of them. So we got strings, numbers, booleans. This is kind of JSON. Those are objects. And you can kind of see we have a few. We have numbers. You can create types of other things which you can create, which are there. But what I'll do is I'll just search the word string. And there's documentation's awesome. So here's all the types we can use that come out of the box. Everything else we have to create on our own. So a string is a schema type for strings and a selectable list of strings. So you can do it normally and have like a title. And so we have all that. You can have description, blah, blah, blah. And so then we have validation. And validation essentially is a type of cool ruling system where we can check and make sure that something is true before it's published. So with this, we're going to make sure that it's required, right? So you can't create a shirt document without having a name filled in. And we can add a minimum length, a maximum length. So let's maybe add a dot min. You can just add it on of 5. Yeah, and let's add a max while we're at it. You can write dot max of 50. We can make sure that everything's lowercase or everything's uppercase. You can add your own regex code or a custom validation. You don't really have to. You can kind of choose. There's a lot of information here. Yeah, it's interesting. It's cool. It's fun. Whatever. So let's continue, right? We have our string, pretty easy. But what you might have seen is that it says list, a selectable list of strings. So we called our document a shirt, and there can be different types of shirts. So let's make a new field. You can just do that. And we're gonna call it title shirt type, description, the type of shirt, and we're not gonna name it type. I'll name it shirt type just because there is already a type identified, which is shirt, and I don't want to get that confused later. We're gonna make it type string, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually add options, which allows us to kind of do more options, list, and I'm pretty sure it's a array, and then we can create a little bit of what looks like a dictionary for it. So I can call it maybe a short-sleeved shirt. and we can set that value. So value short sleeved, right? I'll copy paste this. Maybe we want to have a long sleeved shirt, and then a no sleeved shirt, because that was a thing once upon a time. Maybe it still is. So you can go back here. I'm trying to find it, and you can see that now we have this little cool thing, and we can once again save it. Do all this, and it's gonna just kind of really quickly check. If you go too fast, it doesn't have enough time to validate itself. It's saving right now, and now we can hit publish. Even if you don't hit publish, everything automatically saves, which means you're never worried, and all your things are tracked. So you can see if I click here, it's been tracking my work. What I'm also going to do is also copy and paste this validation, but I'm going to remove the minimum and maximum because it's a drop down now. Pretty cool. So now we have a shirt name, we have a shirt type. Let's think about some other things that we need. We'll need an image, I think. So let's add an image. We can kind of go here. There we go. Title, shirt image. We're going to set a name, just call it image, a type of image, and we'll leave it at that for now. Okay. So we have our shirt. We can add an image. Now I'm going to drag it in, and you can drag it in. So I can make sure it's a square image. It's going to upload really quickly. And then there's our image, right? Problem solved. Publish. That's it. You can upload, select, you can download it, whatever, grab the URL for it. Your image is added, and you can see it kind of adds on here. Let's also do a graphic tee, and I'm actually going to use one of our cool STEMpump shirts that we did a while ago. I have this one still it's in my closet somewhere. But we have our STEMpump shirt, and so we have now our two shirts, right? Both square images, whatever. So we have our shirts. Cool. Then let's also continue. We can also add a validation command to this. And let's just go check what other cool things we can do back here. We can go back to this, hit image. And you can see there's a lot of awesome examples. You can have an asset source. You can force certain things. You can set up a hotspot, or you can ask for captions or attribution if you're using external images, or if you are needing an alt text or have a caption underneath, right? Making it easily accessible. All this output stuff we'll talk about in a little bit. There's a lot of data that you can pull from an image, and luckily with GROQ we can get to choose how much we actually get. Okay, so let's continue. Let's add a price. So we're gonna have the shirt price. We'll call it price, and we'll be type number. We're gonna add a validation to it. Save it. And let's go see if we can set any more other values to it, right? So let's make sure, let's set some more validation. We want the number to be positive. We want a minimum number. Can I set minimums? Yes. Out of 0 to 0.1. Let's set and we don't really want a max if you want a really expensive shirt. Or no, let's just do greater than, I think. Greater than 0. We'll do precision of 2 because we want to have it's in dollars and cents. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I think this is it. I think this is good. Is there any other pricing information I can do? No? Cool. So we can kind of go here, and you can see now it's asking for, it says, oh, you don't meet these requirements. So we can kind of go 5.25. So this shirt now costs $5.25. Here, $6.75 maybe for this shirt. I think that's pretty cheap actually, but it's okay. And so yeah, that's with numbers. Maybe we want to do a summary. So we can use text, which is kind of a multiple, like a bio if we don't want any styling. So let's actually just do that. So we'll do a summary, description, text, and we'll add a validation to it. Cool. I love how like all this stuff, and we can just kind of add a description. Cool. And you can kind of see we're kind of getting somewhere with all of this stuff. Without a Boolean, you know, right? What if we want to have it in our system, but we don't want to sell? So we can do title. Are we selling this shirt? Or are we out of stock? Or actually, are we in stock? Yes, it's a better way to define it. Are we in stock? In stock. We can set that up as a Boolean validation. So yeah, we can ask if this product is in stock. Are we in stock? Or is this product, guess? Is this shirt in stock? And yeah, we can move that. I'll move this to the top, on top, like right here, just so it's easier. So, because it's so thin. Or even I can just add it to the top because of how important it is. Because if it's like, you want to be able to see it on first glance. There we go. We have all this fun stuff we've already. Sure, everything we have to fill some stuff. For tie-dye-t. Okay, cool. Oh, well, yes, it's in stock. Yes, it is in stock. Cool. Publish. I'm trying to see if we need anything else for now. I think we'll be good, right? We'll be fine. We don't really need anything else right now. All right, so let's talk about objects. Objects can become really helpful really quickly. So I'll kind of explain why. Let's create a new item that we want to sell in our store. I want to sell maybe a pair of shoes. Shoes.js. Same old, right? Default. Create a title, we'll call it shoe. I guess shoes, plural, even though it's like a singular pair. It'll be a document, and we'll create our fields. And what we're going to realize really quickly is that a lot of our fields are actually the same between these things, right? Whether it's in stock, names, images, pricing, description. This shirt type is kind of on its own. So what we can do is create an object. So we'll create an object right now, and we can use that to kind of bring shared data. So I'll create a new one. I'll call it productinfo.js. Export default title product info. We're going to name it product info, and this type will be a object. Okay, for fields, what I'm going to do is I'm honestly just going to copy paste I'm going to copy paste everything here and just kind of remove what I don't need. So I'll copy paste this into here, and I'll change this, all the words of shirt into product. We can name this type now because it'll be different. Actually, I'll just delete this entirely. We don't need that. Product name, product. This is product in stock. Cool. Now we have all this. So I can go back here. I will delete these fields. And you'll see like things will error out so quickly because it's going to be like, oh no, we don't actually have any info. So what I'll do now is at the top part, I'm going to add comma, title, product information, name, product info, type, product info. And I'll just copy paste this, paste it into this shoes document as well. And in my schema, I'm going to import my shoes, but you're also going to want to import your product info. So shoes, product info. Now if I go back here, you can see that product information shows up for shoes as well as shirts. I'll actually delete both of these documents. I'll remove. Because now that we've nested it, it no longer really exists. So you can actually just select images once again. I'll call it the STEMpump shirt. It's no longer in stock. We're going to sell it for $9.99. this is a STEMpump shirt. And we'll do long sleeved. You can see how it's kind of displaying weirdly now. And we'll fix that. Fix that right away. So we're gonna actually go into here. We're gonna go into our shirt, and what we're gonna do is we're going to, after fields, we're gonna create a new level called preview. I don't know why I tried to call it weird. Select, and we're gonna write title is equal to product info.name. Our media is our product info.image, and our subtitle will be our price. So now if I save this, you can see that it's going to update and it says STEMpump shirt. This. You can add more to it. We're going to talk about that now today, but for now it'll be $9.99. Or we can just write product info .in stock. And it won't show anything because it's a Boolean. It won't really display properly. We'll do price. We can copy this also over to our shoes right here, and it works straight out the gate. We have shoes and shirts. Okay, so we have our documents. We've made objects as well. And we can also now talk about related items. So we're going to talk about references, which is a really, really cool thing. It allows us to reference other documents. So what I'll do is I'll create a new item right here, and I'll call it similar shirts, comma, similar shirts. And it'll be a type of array of type reference to type shirt. I'm just trying to finish this out. There we go. And so now if I go in here, I click on this, add item, similar shirts, and we can now search for other shirts. So I think I'll remove this itself. We'll create another shirt. I'll call it, this item is in stock, blue STEMpump shirt. And I'll drag an image of a blue STEMpump shirt. This one will be $10.99. Description. I'll just leave it at that. We can remove all these other random fields that kind of exist. That's only going to happen the first time. And now, if I go to similar shirts, I can add an item, reference it, blue, publish. Pretty cool. We can do a lot of cool things. Maybe you want to have different colors, right? So you can make another document called color.js and have it show off a color. You can have color picker. It's just something you can get from Sanity. You can do a plugin for it, and then you can just select the color. So this is this is closer to a navy. This is navy in real life. It looks gray, but we can have a navy color, and it will select navy, and we can just say, oh yeah, this item is navy. So we've learned to do documents, references, objects, and now you have kind of a basic CMS kind of built out. There's a lot more advanced you can go into it, and I really hope to have time to make a course or more videos on this because we've done a lot of work with it at STEMpump to kind of get it to where it is, and it's really, really powerful when you can kind of master it. So we're going to go to Vision now, and we're going to do a little bit of GROQ. So let's create a query that shows all of our items. So all you're going to do that is write asterisk, and then this. Just two of those, and it'll show you all of our items. It's a lot of different items. It shows everything, but that's a lot more data than we need. You can also see that pretty fast. It's a lot more data than we need. So I just only want shirts. Type, you can see I use an underscore because all documents have this underscore system kind of laid out. We have created that ID and some other information about it. Information about it. And our object right here, product info, has its own type as well, but nothing else because objects aren't meant to kind of stand on their own. So I'll say if underscore, I want all the underscore types to equal shirt. Fetch, and it's going to fetch me two items. Cool. And I want product info.instock. So that will be if it's true. If I want it to be false, I'll add an exclamation mark and it won't pull anything because nothing exists like that. Cool. So this still pulls a lot of content that we don't really need. Like I don't really need to know all of like a lot of these things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make curly braces. I'm gonna write what I want. I want to know the product info and the shirt type. Cool, right? This looks a lot more manageable, but I actually only want some specific info from product info, and you'll add a comma right there. I only want, say, the name, the price, the name and the price. Let's go with that, right? I only want the name and the price, and that's all I'm gonna get, right? This isn't even using the CDN, by the way. This is just a generic API request, which goes to show how powerful it is. And this is all JSON right here. If we actually copy paste this into a new tab, you're gonna get JSON code, which you can just parse straight out the gate. Without actually needing GROQ. And I also want the image. Let's get the image while we're at it. And you get this weird thing that's a reference, because you can see _ref. Well, all images have this reference system built in, but I want the URL. So what you can do is we can actually add quotes. We can create a custom field that we want, and write image.asset and create a arrow, and this is called a reference arrow. It allows us to dig into this reference and grab things we can't see, and write URL, and hit finish. And now we actually have our things. Pretty cool, right? We can even go one step further. Say I don't want this product info block. I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to create a custom field called name, and it's going to be equal to product info.name. I'm going to create a price, product info.price, and an image, product info.image.asset, arrow URL, comma. And now you have this really, really simple JSON code that essentially you hide the entire object. Sometimes this is extremely helpful. Like, I use this a lot in order, if on my code I write the wrong name, I can just change it here by giving it a different value. Like, you can even do this. Like for, that's the wrong example. Like here we can call it type. And then we called it shirt type. I can just call it type this. And you can now see it's now been taken over. This value is now associated with this thing, which is really cool. Let me create a shoe item really quickly. Is it product in stock? Shoes. There. We're gonna make them equal to $99.99. These are the best shoes. Cool. Awesome. So we have these two things, right? Now I can pull the same thing with shoe, right? I just renamed it, and it's not going to find anything that's in stock because it's shoes. I wrote the thing wrong, and you don't see that type comes out as null because you don't actually have a type for. Shirt type doesn't really exist, but if I just put shirt type, it won't even appear. It will appear as null once again. That's new. I've never seen that. But nonetheless, it kind of just works, right, with our GROQ. So what I've done actually is I've created let me grab it, a basic. I just made like a demo of Next.js. So Next.js welcome. So we can kind of see what this looks like in a real circumstance, like what does this really look like? But first what we're going to do is we're going to go to GitHub, and we're going to find our Sanity client. We go here, Sanity.io, and find our Sanity client. I think it's going to be right here. Is it here? No? I'll just Google it. There we go. And we're on NPM. And you'll see, we just got to copy this. NPM, install Sanity client, and it will allow us to kind of take advantage of a lot of and kind of pull code. Or not pull code, but pull our data on another website, which is obviously, what we want. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go back here. You don't have to do this. If you already know how, awesome. But I'm just going to install Sanity client on here. Okay, that's gonna be done. npm run dev. Cool. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this index page. I'm just kind of like wipe everything out of it because I don't really care. I don't really need it. And I'm not looking for style points. Hello. Cool stuff right there, right? It's in padding just so I can kind of read what's going on. So we can go into here, and I'll just set up a simple server request function. So this is called it's called ISR, or incremental static regeneration, and it allows us to just pull content over time. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to set this function up. I'm going to write const query equals, and then put the tildes. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into here, fetch, copy this, paste it in there, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to write const data equals await client. It's going to error out just client.fetch query, and then I'm going to write return props data, comma, revalidate. I'll do 1 for now. Cool. It's going to error out. Client doesn't exist. So what we're going to do is I'm going to create a file on the outside. I'm going to call it client.js. And this is our Sanity client. And they kind of give us some code here. So I'm just going to copy this out, paste it. And we need to fill up all these. We're going to need to fill these out. So I'm going to go back here. First, what we're going to do is go to settings, right here, tokens, API, then tokens, and we're going to create a new CORS origin, and I'll just write localhost 3000. Save. And now, okay, cool. That should look good. We don't even need this token now that I've set that up. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to this, and we'll kind of see. So our API version, I'll set it to this right here, 21.3. Our data set is production. So I can go here, production. And then our ID. So we can go to overview, and you can see we have a project ID. I'm just going to kind of do this. And what I'm doing is instead of this client here, I'm just going to write export default. And I'm going to change this to an import instead. I don't really like that. I'll do that. There we go. Now if I reload the page, it's not going to say, oh yeah, client's not defined because we never imported it. Client, and you'll see, oh, there's something happened, right? Yes, something did happen. What I'm going to do is we're going to go in here, and we're going to allow it to accept data, which is from here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say H. This is our data, and we'll create a unordered list. I'm going to create an H4 or H3, I guess, that says shoes. And we're going to do this little thing, and we're going to write data.shoes. We don't even need data.shoes. We can just do data, because that is this data. Dot map. And we're just going to call it S. And I'm going to add a li. S.name. Now if I reload the page, you can now see shoes, right? Well, actually, these are our shoes. And actually, I'll go inside here and kind of make it a little bit better. Div. Not a $sign. It's not gonna let me do that? That's okay. So let me do that. Yeah, there we go. I'll do a style. Font weight 600. Yeah. So now you can see shoes, right? These are our shoes. If I change this to shirts, shirt, reload. There's our shirt, right? I can make a new one back here, and it'll update. I'll make that back. Just make it a little bit here. Desk, shirt, another shirt. This product is in stock. We can just select a random picture. I'll sell it for $10.99 as well. The script. There's a long sleeve. It's similar to maybe this STEMpump shirt. Publish. Reload. And there it is. You can kind of see it's flickering in and out because it's kind of stabilizing with our browser. But there's our shirt. Another shirt. So that is a super basic look into how Sanity works. We can do so much more. They have their own image client and so much other things. We can even add our images. So we can just do s.image. Boom, images. There they are, right? We have some images there. And so yeah, those are our shirts. But yeah, I hope to make a course that kind of goes a lot more in Sandy because like I said, there's so much you can do with it and we've really only scratched the surface. This is how much code you need to display, and maybe I guess this, to display all the data from your CMS. And this is how we kind of defined all of our shirts and clothes out. Before we kind of go, I kind of go, I want to show one more thing with vision and how we can kind of do more. So I can do this. I can create curly braces. I can have both items as well. So shoes, and I'll just paste that, comma, shirts, paste that, and I'll just change that to shirt, fetch. And now you'll see it's a load, but now we have two different arrays here. So I can now use this in my right here. And now I'll do this. I'll do shoes, data.shoes. Now I'll copy paste that. And shirts, data.shirts. And so now we need to change this so it accepts shoes, shirts. And I can just change this to shoes. And I can, I should have changed that to, I should have left that. Shirts, shoes, shoes. You can kind of see now if I reload the page. Yeah, here are our shoes. Here are our shirts. That's a mouthful. We can go back to our desk and we can just we can create a new pair of shoes. Yeah, sure. More shoe. Maybe there's more. No, this shoe will be a t-shirt. I don't want me to publish. It's an expensive pair of shoes. Might not load. It might take a little bit. We can actually turn off the CDN and get even more fresh data. So I'll turn that off. Yeah, there it is. See when I turned it off. We use the CDN and turn it in non-CDN APIs interchangeably. It really depends on whether you would rather have content that loads fast that you don't update as often, or content that you update all the time. Like Twitter. I guess if you're using Twitter with Sandy or making a clone like that, you'd want to turn the CDN off for any new incoming content because it's coming in so fast that everything's updating. But like older content, you don't really need it because you can use the CDN to pull content faster. And we'll kind of end it out by showing you how to do this on the web. So you can hit cancel, Control C, and we'll write Sanity Deploy. We'll do Sanity. Oh, I was in the wrong project. Sorry. That's why I got angry, see? We're going to Control C here, Sanity Deploy. And now what it's going to do is it's going to upload it to their server so we can actually run and edit off there. So we're going to call it SP Camps Sanity Shop And so now what it's going to do is they're going to upload this entire system that we've built to Sandy. And whenever you need it, you can just you can update this on your own and have GitHub, backing it up with version control, and just write Sanity Deploy, and it's going to update it. See, so now if I go copy this link, I can go back to this page. It's not going to load back to this page. It's not going to load. Actually, I'll restart this web server that I have here. And now you can see we have this. It's on your own custom URL. You guys could probably go to this, but it's locked. And I can just update things. So if I want to change the name of this, more shoe. This is an updated shoe. Question mark. Publish. Reload. And you see, boom, it's already been updated. This is a really awesome solution, so you don't always have, and it's for non-local usage. You always want to be editing locally, which is why we have this local host at 3333. But when you're outside of that, when you're at out, like when I'm out, I'll just use our STEMpump version studio to kind of edit on the go, or when I'm traveling, or just in general. I never really edit on locally, so yeah, I mean, this is the kind of intro to Sanity, and like I said, I want to do more with it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out through us via our support. Other than that, yeah, have a good day or night wherever you are.